So just to get it straight, so by serving so many people and by having a really flourishing life, business, it started to impact you negatively.
Yes.
So let's talk finances first. How did it impact you negatively in your finances?
So because I was doing what I loved, I absolutely loved it. And they always say, you know, you should be willing to do it for free.
Oh.
And in terms of getting, getting your foot in the door, sometimes that can become a bit of a downward spiral, can't it?
I see.
And because of the audience that I was working with, they weren't necessarily always in a position to pay. I was like, oh, no, it's okay, it's fine, I can manage this or I can manage that. And I'd got savings. I'd always really been taught the power of saving and investing and being wise. But somewhere in amongst that, I wasn't on top of my numbers, essentially. And that was kind of starting to dwindle. And this all was, and sort of just being here, there and everywhere, my mental mindset was starting to get where I was giving and giving and giving.
Of course.
I wasn't really being very careful with my self-care. And sort of retopping and renewing my mindset. And I'd got all these high expectations of myself, so I was starting to beat myself up a little bit and saying, oh, well, you should be here and you should be there, and why haven't you achieved this? And this was all in the midst of in the run-up to my wedding.
Of course.
So having a business yourself is a huge, it's like having a baby, isn't it? It's very consuming, both financially, you have to manage the investments, and if they don't always pay off, and emotionally, it's a big...
Today's episode is brought to you by our very own Lucrative Business Academy. Now, don't forget to subscribe to this channel so that you can see all the future episodes. And of course, if you haven't already, make sure you enter the giveaway so that you can get all the amazing gifts from all of our guests from this season. Enjoy the episode. Have you ever had moments in your business where you had to make decisions, but self-doubt or fear has actually taken over? I think that you'll agree that if you are an entrepreneur, if you run a business, you probably have experienced fear and self-doubt, probably both at once or one without the other. Well, in this episode of the Lucrative Lady Talk Show with me, your host, Obasa, I have an incredible guest who is also part of my team, so this is a treat for me, Lorraine Adebowale, and we are going to be talking all about how to overcome fear and self-doubt in business and in every area of your life. Welcome to the show, Lorraine.
Thank you so much. It's such a privilege to be here.
Doesn't it feel amazing just being on the couch?
It does, yeah, it's nice to be here.
Well, you've had a hand in planning and organising guests. I just thought that by having you here, I can just get you back.
Thank you.
Anyway, thank you so much for joining us. I wanted to talk about fear. And self-doubt, specifically because I think that you have a wonderful story, and we've been friends for quite some time, and I've seen your journey, you've seen mine, and all of those things, and I figured you would be the right person to talk about this. So let's just go back and just talk about who you are and your business. If you just introduce yourself in that way for us.
Sure. So I'm an arts educator. That was what I learned by trade. Using the power of music, dance, drama, film to really help empower, and equip and educate people, as well as entertain them in a really fun, creative, lively kind of way. And I was doing very, very well for myself. I was quite a high flyer, one of those gifted and talented, so really had got very high expectations of myself. And was doing really well. I'd got a business all over the world. I was literally teaching thousands of people from all different backgrounds, from special needs, that was where I started, to prisoners and ex-offenders, to refugees, to single mums, you name it. And I'd really got a heart for the people. I wanted to serve and to change lives. But somewhere kind of in around that, being the creative person, we've already spoken a lot on the show and in the group about multi-passionate and here, there and everywhere, and how you manage lots of different things. That kind of started to affect me personally.
Okay.
So in terms of my emotional management, my financial well-being as well, because I'm a giver, and a lot of us are coming from that place of wanting to serve. It then really started, I noticed, to start seeing that crumble in my personal life.
So just to get it straight, so by serving so many people and by having a really flourishing life, actually, it started to impact you negatively.
Yes.
So let's talk finances first. How did it impact you negatively in your finances?
So because I was doing what I loved, I absolutely loved it, and they always say, you know, you should be willing to do it for free.
Oh.
And in terms of getting, you know, getting your foot in the door, sometimes that can become a bit of a downward spiral, can't it?
I see.
And because of the audience that I was working with, they weren't necessarily always in a position to pay. I was like, oh, no, it's okay, it's fine, I can manage this or I can manage that. And I'd got savings. I'd always really been taught the power of saving and investing and being wise. But somewhere in amongst that, I wasn't on top of my numbers, essentially. And that was kind of starting to dwindle. And this all was, and sort of just being here, there and everywhere, my mental mindset was starting to get where I was giving and giving and giving.
Of course.
I wasn't really being very careful with my self-care. And sort of retopping and renewing my mindset. And I'd got all these high expectations of myself, so I was starting to beat myself up a little bit and saying, oh, well, you should be here and you should be there, and why haven't you achieved this? And this was all in the midst of in the run-up to my wedding.
Of course.
So having a business yourself is it's like having a baby, isn't it? It is very consuming, both financially, you have to manage the investments, and if they don't always pay off, and emotionally it's a big...
Definitely. What would you say was the lowest point? So, you know, so the picture is you're building this business, it's doing very well, but you're not actually charging well enough. So the finances are being affected, you're being affected emotionally. What was the lowest point for you?
So I think the lowest point really was in the run-up to my wedding. So it's not really a good look as a bride, is it, if you've had a nervous breakdown just as you're entering into your marriage, into your new life.
It's like, hey, let's get married. Oh, by the way, my finances are in a mess.
And my husband, you know, had seen me at those heights. We've been together since I was 17. He's seen me, you know, at the height of my excellence, as it were. And then to see it kind of all falling apart around me, and me suddenly doubting who I was and not really knowing, you know, he was going, well, how does it all fit together? Why isn't it, you know, what's going wrong? Why isn't it working? And so I'd say that was the low point.
Definitely.
And it took quite an adjustment to get there. I invested in lots of coaching, lots of consultancy myself. I really took a step back from it to see to really learn who I was, what I stood for, what my values, what my principles were, what I did want to say yes to and what I didn't want to. I think boundaries setting is really important.
Let's talk about that for a minute, because you definitely had to create some boundaries, for sure, because it sounds like there were no boundaries, because sometimes when you're a giver, you're just like, I'm 100%, I'm a giver, I'm a giver.
150%.
150%, you would take the clothes on my back and my whatever else, you know, I'm a giver. So let's talk about how to create boundaries, because if you are going to have a lucrative life, not just in your finances, but in every area, you're going to need some boundaries in there. And this was a question that somebody asked on Instagram stories recently, actually. How do you create boundaries in your business and in your life? And I want to add, how do you do that without feeling bad about it?
Well, I think as a creative, we work very well with a limited brief. If somebody says to you, you have got 1, 2, 3, suddenly it sparks off in your mind. You're like, oh yeah, I can do this and I can do this and I can do this. If somebody says to you, you can do anything in the world, suddenly your brain freezes, you kind of get a little bit paralysed by it, and you're like, oh gosh, I don't know where to start. So I think for me, with everything, mindset needs to come first. You need to recognise that boundaries are really important. And that they free you up to do whatever it is you need to do with what you've got. It's not a limitation, it is something that is empowering you and is really awesome. And there's an analogy that has been given where it's a scientific research that if you send kids into a park and you just tell them they can go anywhere they like, no boundaries, no fences, no anything, they all stick together and huddle in one space.
Of course, because it's like the people you know, familiarity. I know you, I'm going to stick with you.
They stick close to their parents or their teacher or whatever, and there's almost like a little culture of, okay, we need to be really safe. We need to not step out too much, not to play too much, just in case. Yeah. But if you say to them, okay, you can't go past the gate. Yeah. Make sure you stop when you get to the red fence. Yeah. Suddenly they're all over the playground and they're coming to the live, they're trying this, they're trying that, they're trying to get past the gate. That's right. As well. They're pushing those boundaries to see what they can do and what they can't do. I think that's a really useful way of looking at it in our business. Is okay, it's not that I'm being limited, I'm not having all these impositions and these restrictions placed on me, but this is something that's really great, really awesome, and that is going to allow me to thrive.
So on that note, what kind of boundaries do you think we ought to have in our business in order to, serve ourselves and, of course, develop and grow the business? What sort of boundaries have you had to put in place?
We have to put boundaries on our time. Yes. We have to put boundaries on our money. Yes. Budgeting is really important. Yeah. And again, as creatives sometimes, or in that kind of entrepreneurial spirit, we really want to go all out there, and we understand the power of investment, etc. But you have to have your numbers. Yes. That's particularly right. As literate, we really like words as well often, that kind of right brain type thinking, like words. But we have to get on top of the numbers, and if you can't do the numbers, get someone else to do it for you. Yeah. So money is important, time boundaries, definitely. Self-care boundaries as well, boundaries within your relationship, the resources that you're working with. I think those are good ones to start with.
And like we said at the beginning, boundaries as to what you will say yes or no to. Yes. Like if you're going to do lots of free talks or free discovery calls or something like that, you're going to have some boundaries as to how many of these are going to be free, and am I making an offer, and all of those things, and just not feeling bad. I think that's the biggest thing, not feeling bad about creating those boundaries, knowing that they do serve you. Yeah. So let's talk about overcoming fear, because I know that a lot of our lucrative ladies won't know, but you are a new mum, actually. Yes. You have a beautiful daughter, and how old is she right now?
She's going to be a year soon. In a couple of weeks.
Yes.
She's going crazily fast.
I know. But being your friend and of course having you on the team, I've seen the journey. And I want to talk about the other side of that journey, the reality, because I think that a lot of people, before they go into motherhood, even before they go into marriage, they think that, well, my business is here. I'm just going to go with my business. I'm going to be a mother and I'm going to just transport the business that I had. But that wasn't always the case, was it? Or that wasn't the case with you? Or can you talk about a little bit about that?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I think you personally saw a lot of my journey before the motherhood, because you were saying, can you take on this contract? Can you take on that? Oh, I'd love you to get involved in this. And I was going, no, because I don't know what it's going to be like. I can't plan. I don't know how I'm going to feel or what life's going to be like. What she's going to be like, what she wants to, how much she's going to sleep, or how much she's going to feed, or how tired I'm going to be, or whether I'm suddenly going to have loads of energy that I don't know what to do with. And
which is almost impossible, but keep going.
But funnily enough, actually having my beautiful daughter did give me a renewed energy, and it gave me a renewed focus and a new vision. But of course I didn't know that at the time, and we laugh about it together, don't we? I really like to talk about certainty, because the only thing that's certain in life is uncertainty. We can't predict the future. There are things that we can manage and we can get on top of, but we have to be okay with things not being certain. And I think certainty is one of the things that's at the core of fear. Is we can't manage it, we can't predict what's going to happen. And so then sometimes our brain goes into overdrive, trying to help us prepare for it.
Definitely. So what would you say to those who are at a point where their life is, it's developing, they're going to add another one to their family, perhaps it's a child, perhaps it's a spouse, and all of that, and they're, a little bit afraid as to the uncertainty of what the future may hold for them. How do you get over those fears?
I think my thing really is to embrace it, to really see it from, I talk a lot in my work about perspective and reframing things. And one of the mandates, one of the messages that I quite hold dear to is there's a prayer I believe it's called the Serenity Prayer, where it says, Lord, help me accept the things that I can't change.
That's right.
the courage to change the things I can,
Yeah.
and the wisdom to know the difference.
Yeah, powerful.
Yeah.
Especially that end bit, the wisdom to know the difference. What is the difference between the things that I can and the things that I can't, and how do I move forward with that? Yeah. Lovely.
And so, and since I've been using that more and more, it's just a reminder, I've kind of got it everywhere, you know, if I can find myself starting to worry or get a bit anxious or feeling scared about things, I'm like, okay, let's step back.
Yeah.
Can I do anything about this?
Yeah.
Sometimes I can, and I'm like, great, let me do that.
Yeah.
Other things I can't.
Yeah. No,
And I'm
that's
like, okay,
right.
that's cool. I'm just going to accept it then, and I'm going to try and reframe it so that I can see the positive.
Yeah. But what does fear even mean? Because a lot of people think that, you know, if I have something to do and perhaps I feel a certain way about it, perhaps it's a sign that I shouldn't move forward.
Yeah.
Right? What does it mean to you?
I'm not sure who did it, but they say about false evidence appearing real.
Yeah.
There's all sorts of different things and definitions of what fear is. But for me, fundamentally, fear is there to protect you.
Right.
So if you go way back when, it's a natural physical reaction to something that is dangerous.
Yeah.
And so if you're faced with a bear, you know, you want your natural instincts to kick in, and it's the fight or flight, you know. How am I going to manage this bear? Your adrenaline kicks in, and it gives you enough energy to get out of that situation, or it even gives you added strength and added power to fight if you need to. So I think fundamentally, if we embrace fear as a good thing, it is there to protect us and not to beat ourselves up about, oh, I'm feeling scared now. Courage isn't the absence of fear. It's persevering and prevailing despite the fear.
That's right. That's right.
There's a book, isn't there, called Feel the Fear and Do It Anyway. And that's fundamentally what it is about.
Yeah, correct.
And then once you're armed with that, then everything else, your options kind of become a lot clearer and a lot easier.
Yes. But in the presence of fear is also self-doubt.
Yes.
So a lot of people feel the fear, and, you know, as a result of that, they start to doubt themselves, doubt the steps they're taking and all of that. You know, so, you know, what is your message to them? If you are, you know, perhaps, you know, going into the new year or going into a whole different part of your business, and you are a little bit worried or afraid, or perhaps doubting yourself, what would you say to that?
Well, if we look at what self-doubt is, it's essentially saying, I'm not good enough. I don't have the tools, I don't have the resources, I don't have this, I don't have that. Perhaps I'm not pretty enough or brave enough or clever enough or whatever it is. It's all to do with enough. And again, if we take a step back at that and we challenge what there is, it's never about a lack of resources, it's about a lack of resourcefulness.
Right. Yes. Very true. Very true.
Okay, I might not have the money yet.
Yes.
But I am an intelligent woman.
Yeah.
And I can make the money.
Yeah. Yeah.
Somehow. I can look and I can spell.
I can be resourceful.
Something.
That's
I can be resourceful.
Yeah.
Or I can make 10 calls and ask them if they would like my services. That makes you, I mean, you've got tons of different resources in your academy.
Definitely.
All to do with quick cash injection and all that.
Yeah.
So we have to come from a point of we are good enough. And I know you've already spoken a little bit about keeping Christ at the centre of our business and at the core of who we are.
Yeah.
And we are built, we are created in God's own image. So we do have that innate ability. We are able to draw on infinite resources and make it happen.
But what if somebody doesn't have Christ at the centre of their lives? What if they don't have that belief? What are some of the things that, we have scriptures, we have all of those things, but I'm aware that a lot of people watching might not have that. No. In that instance, how do you get over the fear or the self-doubt, whatever it is that is stopping you from moving forward right now?
Well, I think the principles still apply. There is a scripture that talks about focus on what's good, what's whole, what's pure, what's lovely.
Yeah.
And I do want to say that in that he is talking about Christ.
Yes.
And that you focus on him or whoever, whatever your belief is, your higher power or whatever, your fundamental core system.
Yeah.
But if you look back at yourself through that same lens, I like to call it kind of putting on your love lenses or your rose-tinted glasses.
Yes.
And think, okay, well, I might not have this, but I do have this.
Yeah.
I'm not particularly organised, you know, so I've got things all over the place. So I'm like, okay, but I am creative.
Yeah.
And that's where that kind of comes from. You know, I'm not particularly good at cleaning, for example, but I am able to speak very eloquently with my cleaner, and I've got a very good relationship with her.
Yeah, it's about the thinking about your glass is half full as opposed to half empty. Stop focusing on the things that aren't.
Yes.
You know, the shoulda, woulda, coulda. So don't focus on those things. Focus on what you do have, the assets that you have, the things that you are good at. You know, so what are some mindset practices that you do in, you know, to really keep the fire burning in your confidence and in your personal development?
I think reframing is something that is really key to look at no matter what. So I'd always give the example of vacuum cleaning, because it is something that I really, or before I did all this mindset work, I was like, I hate it, I don't like it, it's boring, it's heavy work, it's hard duty, I can't even really see that much of a difference. And that was when I started learning about reframing, and I'm like, okay, how can I look at this from a different light? It does make my house really lovely and clean. It is a good workout, for example. It does give me time to think about things. You know, it's quite a mindful process. So I can go around and whilst I'm doing it, I can just have a little bit of a think about all the other things that are on my mind. You know, for example, you could go on and on and on. But it's not that you goes back to you can't change it. Vacuum cleaning, unfortunately, is a fact of life. Limited things that you can do other than by, you know, I can change it by getting a cleaner, or I can change my attitude towards it.
Correct, yes. That's
so
right.
I think that's the most powerful out of all the mindset practices. I think that's a really good place to start.
I love that.
Things like affirmations. I know you know the power of affirmation.
Oh, definitely.
So constantly and consistently doing it. I sometimes say, you know, you wash your body every day. You can't get away with batch cleaning yourself. And you can't get away with batch cleaning your mind either. It does need to be a regular, continual thing every single day.
I love that,
Daily mindset showers. And one more that I think is probably really important is watch your language. Find yourself. I sometimes catch myself, you know, going, oh, if I carry on having to do this, I'm going to drive myself crazy. No, I'm not driving myself crazy. Why would I say that about myself? And or when we're talking about motherhood, you know, you hear mum say, oh, you're such a naughty child.
Your words are so powerful. Yes, that's right.
And I've been there, you know, I know how tempting it is. But if we sometimes listen to what we're saying, and catch ourselves. So every single time I say, oh, you're such a silly Billy, or, you know, worse. Silly Billy is a nice word to use. But every time I say that, no, I'm not a silly Billy. I'm a perfectly lovely, wonderful, intelligent woman that can do this. And I'm going to do it.
I love it. It's all about that self-talk. Whatever it is you are saying to yourself, it will transform. It will come out. People will see it. It will become what you become, essentially. Your words. You become those words. So important. So, Lorraine, if I could trouble you for your 5 rules of success when it comes to overcoming fear and self-doubt. I know you've talked about quite a few things, which is really great. But if I were to ask you for a summary, you know, a wrap up, if there were 5 things that the Lucrative Ladies watching this could take away when it comes to fear and success, what are your 5 rules?
I'm going to say the first one is know that fear is there to protect you.
Nice.
So don't be hating on it. Just embrace it. The second is to use the power of your imagination. So all the things that you are imagining are going to go wrong. You can also use the power of your imagination to figure out how, well, if that does go wrong, oh, well, actually I can use this to do it right. Or even better, use the power of your imagination to picture it and visualize it going amazingly.
So good.
What success looks like for you. 3 is what I was saying about look through your rose-tinted lens. So focus on what's good, what's whole, what's pure, what's lovely, what's complete. Play to your strengths. And then your weaknesses, anything that you're doubting about yourself, it doesn't matter because you've got your strengths. Number 4 is like using practical tips. So the power of breath. Taking some deep breaths, or going for a walk, or journaling, or doodling. Taking anything really to remove yourself from the situation. so that you have got a clearer perspective.
Yes.
Yeah. And then number 5 is using your community, who you surround yourself with. So the people that you've got in your life that are making a difference, whether that is a coach or a consultant or your best friends, or there are various helplines that you can call. If you can feel yourself kind of getting into some kind of really beyond just a little bit of fear and a little bit of self-doubt, and you can feel yourself kind of spiraling off, there are various helplines or your doctor or whatever. So make sure that you are getting the relevant advice and you're surrounding yourself with the right people.
And on that note, I absolutely love those, but it's not being afraid to ask for help, which is what you mean about community, right? Because a lot of people have community, but they won't reach out to ask for help, because needing help, especially when it comes to things such as, mental health and mindset, it's a bit of a taboo. People are very much afraid to talk about the fact that they could be struggling. But as you've just said, it is the root of everything that could go well or not in your life and in your business. So absolutely, thank you so much.
Pleasure.
Really good to have had you on the show. Thank you so much for stepping away from being a part of the team and just being on the couch, because I already knew you were a powerhouse. So it was great to have you on camera doing that with me. Thank you so much for coming.
My pleasure.
Don't forget, if you ever want to catch this show live, make sure you join our Facebook group, and that is www.obasa.com/group, and you can join us live and ask my amazing guests some of your important and burning questions, and they will answer. But thank you so much, Lorraine, for joining me.
Hello, lucrative ladies. As you guys know, my mission in life is to help you to create a lucrative business and life that you love. And it is because of that we created the Lucrative Business Academy. Our goal with the Lucrative Business Academy is to provide you with the curriculum, coaching, and community to help you to take your business to the next level. LBA will provide you with the necessary step-by-step process to help you take your business forward. So whether you are just starting out in business, or perhaps you are more established but you want to get high-paying clients, or you are ready to scale your business, or perhaps you are stuck and just want to be unstuck. Well, the truth is that there are core principles for every single one of those, and that's where the Lucrative Business Academy comes in. We have 5 core areas inside the Lucrative Business Academy, and the first is, of course, our amazing courses. Take a look at everything that's waiting for you inside of the Academy. And every single month, that list increases because we are constantly adding new courses based on what our members need. As well as our amazing courses, you also have access to a live 2-hour masterclass with yours truly every single month, where we get to dive deep on a specific area of your business as voted by the community. So this is a great opportunity for you to engage, have your questions answered, and of course get unstuck and get coaching right on the spot. The third thing the Lucrative Business Academy offers are our amazing global networking event. That's right. So you can join us online for our global networking event, where you get to connect with members all across the world. Inside of our networking event, you get access to 3 guaranteed one-to-one appointments, which gives you the opportunity for joint ventures, collaborations, and of course a great way to meet your ideal clients. The fourth thing that the Lucrative Business Academy offers are, of course, our amazing speaking opportunities. That's right, we offer our members speaking opportunities both offline and online inside of our networking events and our live events. So as a member, you get to flex your muscles on the stage, in person or online, in front of a global audience, which is an incredible way to build your brand. And last but certainly not least, as a member of the Lucrative Business Academy, you get access to an amazing community of other lucrative ladies who are on the same journey as you and are waiting to cheer you on, helping you to achieve your goals, and of course provide accountability so that you are not going this journey alone. Now, the Lucrative Business Academy pricing starts as low as $49 per month, and you get a huge discount if you buy the whole year upfront. I think that the Lucrative Business Academy is one of the best things that we have ever created. And if you are ready to scale your business quickly, then we invite you to join us today. So to do that, all you have to do is head to the link in the description or head to this link, academy.thelucrativelady.com/yes, and you can get in right now. That is academy.thelucrativelady.com/yes, and you can get access right now to all of the coaching, support, community, and everything that you have inside of the Lucrative Business Academy. So with that being said, I look forward to seeing you on the inside, my friend. Until then, make sure you create a lucrative business and life that you love. See you later, Lucrative Lady.
Hi everyone, my third guest today. Like,
Thank you. I love that.
yes. Do more time. So yeah, we're about to go live. Thank you so much. You guys have been joining and asking questions and just keeping the buzz alive. We really appreciate it.